Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Paul and welcome to Drone UHQ. You're probably wondering, do drone pilots really get in trouble? And what is the FAA enforcement rate? Well, thanks to a new report released this morning by Embry-Riddle, thanks to Jonathan Ruprecht, who has been on the Ask Drone U podcast many times, famously for fighting the remote ID case. It's clear that in this report they showcase, yes, just how many enforcements there have been, but they also believe, Embry-Riddle does at least in this report, that SUAS operator compliance with Part 107 regulations is essential to maintaining safety in the national airspace system. So we're going to go over these great stats and help you understand the enforcement rate, what drone pilots are really getting in trouble for, what is the average fine amount, in addition to the average length of time that these enforcement actions take place. In addition, we'll go over how remote ID might impact enforcement actions moving forward and give you an idea of where you may not want to fly. Now, one thing is very clear, that if you are flying drones and you are breaking the rules, don't crash, because many of these enforcement actions came out of some sort of emergency, aka a crash, damage to someone's property, or damage to land and or people. So make sure you're following those rules. Let's go into these enforcement rates. Let's just hit the nitty gritty. Let's go right to it. How many enforcement actions between the period of 2012 and 2020? That's right, Bob, just 384. Now, if you go to the FAA's webpage, you'll find that currently there are 863,728 registered drones, which brings our enforcement rate to 0.04445844%. And I do want to clarify, that is percentage, that is not a decimal point. It is a decimal point in the percentage. That means the enforcement rate, again, is 0.04445844%. Now, what are the most common regulations that are broken and associated fines therein? I think number one, number two are kind of the same thing or very similar, which is you're qualified to manipulate the controls of a drone and that you have a Part 107. That represents about 21 to 22% of all of these enforcement actions. Flying in controlled airspace is number two. That represents, I think it was about 16%, I can't remember, of the enforcement actions as well. And then number three is registration. Now, it is important to understand that the FAA does have two types of regulatory power. Think of the ability for them to take away your Part 107 certificate and then to give you a civil fine. It's important to know that the FAA is not a law enforcement agency, which means that they cannot actually arrest you for any purpose whatsoever. Now, if you do have an egregious violation of airspace law, the FAA can submit the case to DOJ to go to someone like FBI or Homeland Security or NSA, etc., etc. That is possible. And I know many of you have heard of that $86,000 fine, I believe it was in LA, which is notated as an outlier in this report. And funny enough, the enforcement action against me in 2015 was in here too. That's funny. Anyway, so there is a very notable quote in here that I want to go over with everyone because I think it paints a very pretty picture. Okay, this is on page 3 of this report. There's two quotes. In 2018, the U.S. Department of Transportation issued a report that the FAA's UAS oversight efforts have primarily focused on outreach and education with limited enforcement action, despite the growth of the industry itself. Moving down to the next paragraph, along this vein, Ravick 2019, which is a source, going back to, and I quote, suggested the FAA has not been very active in pursuing enforcement actions against UAS operators, arguing non-enforcement has, quote unquote, been the norm. Found that very interesting. Okay, so what does this mean? I want to hear from you in the comments below what you think this means. What I think this means is drone pilots are the safest cohorts of pilots to ever have existed. In fact, we should be respected as such too, and not respected in a manner that the FAA thinks of us as Best Buy pilots who just don't care. Clearly, we care. Clearly, we're very good at it. So, that said, let's go into some interesting information, right? Because these calculations of the enforcement rate being 0.044 repeated percent is very low, but are we using the real numbers? Okay, we knew many years ago, I think it was Drone DJ put out an article about the total number of DJI drones sold, but I couldn't find it online. And I remember, because I've been in this industry almost 11 years now, that there were something like 8 million drones that had actually been sold, which is a far cry from the 800,000 that are registered with the FAA. So I couldn't find any detail or statistics anywhere on the web about how many drones have been sold in the United States. Now, we do know in 2022, $30.6 billion of revenue went to DJI. Okay, now we also know that the United States represents about 60% of all of the drones purchased in said year. Now, if the average price point is $2,000, which that's a number that I completely pulled out of my butt, okay? Because you've got Tello drones that are $100, you've got DJI Mini 2s that are $500. You've got Avatas that are $1,000, okay? But you also have M300s that are $15,000 to $20,000. Now, there's a huge dispersion of the volume of those drones. Typically, the most volume of drones sold is going to be in that cheaper bracket. So that's going to represent a lot more sales than the expensive enterprise drones, okay? Now, that said, that's why I came up with the $2,000. If you think we should run other numbers, tell me in the comments below. Let's run all the formulas. I don't really care. There's only two places that you can really garnish information on DJI. One of them is Statista, and the other one is the Hong Kong, I think it was the Hong Kong Exchange, because DJI filed to go public a couple years ago. That said, if the average price point is $2,000, then that means that there were about 15 million drones sold by DJI in 2022. Okay, now this is also not accounting for the fact that there are Osmo mobiles and Ronins, and there are some other products that are not drones, okay? Now, of these drones, we don't know how many drones that were bought for the US were used for the military. Obviously, February 2022, we had the implementation of the Ukrainian war, the most useless war in planet history. And in all honesty, we know that the US government through Ukraine was subsidizing 60% of all of DJI's manufacturing capacity, right? So that said, if we have 15 million drones, 60% capacity, that leaves us with 9.18 million drones. And let's say 80% went to the military. Let's just be really conservative, right? That would leave us with an additional 1.8 million drones that were sold to civilians in the United States in 2022. Okay, that would take our enforcement rate down to 0.0209%. So you can see that the enforcement rate, if we actually factor in the total number of drones in the United States, it's much, much, much lower. So what can we learn from this? Number one, have your 107. Number two, don't fly in controlled airspace without an authorization, especially Class B airspace, which is mentioned specifically in this report that a lot of these enforcement actions came in Class B airspace. That's major airports. That's Atlanta. That's LA. That's Phoenix. Big airports. You think of remote ID, and if they're going to have remote ID transmission systems, they're probably going to be at those big airports picking up drones that are flying within that airspace. So one thing is for sure, know where you're flying, be responsible, and make sure that you have an authorization, okay? Another thing that's really important, if you are breaking the rules, make sure you don't crash. Because if you do crash, then you should expect an enforcement, because emergencies were notated in this report as a fundamental source of information for enforcement action. So I think that is important as well. Otherwise, with enforcement being this low, one thing is very clear: drone pilots are very safe, which is great. Now, what happens if you have an investigation opened up against you? Well, I can tell you because I've had one opened up against me in 2015 before 107 even came out and drones were even regulated by the FAA. Isn't that funny? Anyway, what I can tell you is that make sure that you know the Pilot Bill of Rights, which essentially says a lot of things, but what you should know is that you do have to give your 107 certificate and your certificate of registration to the FAA. Beyond that, shut up. Don't say a word. Anything can and will be used against you in the court of law. If you do not know your Miranda rights, at least understand them. That said, if you've ever watched those guys on Instagram, they're like, if you get pulled over, am I being detained? Can I go about my day? Shut the f up, okay? I would agree with those guys if we were to be analogous to drones, give your 107, give your registration, and STFU. Now, I say that because you should also know that when working with the FAA, if you are under investigation, I highly recommend that you are not mean, you are not nefarious, you do not lie, that you comply with them to the best of your ability without giving away information that could be used against you for anything. I will also say, because the enforcement rate is so low, doesn't mean that you shouldn't fly responsibly. Look, we all love to fly. And in all honesty, most of the regulations in this industry was made by companies that don't exist anymore, or by old fogies that essentially say, yes, we should do this, and then you actually go watch them fly and they don't do any of that stuff. So in all honesty, you gotta be responsible. Responsibility looks like this. Know where you're flying, know the airspace, number one, know the hazards. And number two, don't fly below the tree line of your neighbor's yards, and don't do anything that could be perceived as nefarious or egregious. Now, in the last year, the rules of flying over people have changed. You can transverse people now, and you can even fly over people with a drone that's sub 250 grams that doesn't have exposed rotating parts. You know, you can fly over people, which is great. We now know you can even get a waiver to fly up to a drone up to 500 grams with no exposed rotating parts, you know, up to 20 feet above people in a crowded area. The FAA will give you that waiver, which in the history of this industry has shown me one thing. The FAA is working to giving us more rights to fly. They have closed everything down and they're slowly opening it back up. Don't forget, Canada did the exact same thing. Canada changed their rules so that they have the micro drone rule, which means if the drone is sub 250 grams, you really don't have to go get a license. You don't have to go do all these things. You just can't fly within a certain distance of an airport, making it really easy and seamless to go fly your drone. If we're responsible pilots, I would argue that the FAA would continue to open things up. So safety and responsibility do go hand in hand. In order to have skill, you have to know how to fly safe. And flying safe can be very subjective. We know that in the beginning, prior to Part 107, the FAA would stick everyone with, careless and reckless flight. And now they're focused on the regulatory administrative stuff. You're not registered. You don't have authorization to fly here. You don't have a Part 107. So as long as you cross your T's and dot your I's, it seems like you're gonna be just fine. Now here's the thing, if you don't have your Part 107, you can get your Part 107 with Drone U, but as you know, like a driver's license, that is not gonna teach you how to fly. Because you have your driver's license, it doesn't mean you're gonna be a good driver. You're only a good driver if you go somewhere like the BMW driving school, right? So if you want to be a good drone pilot and you want to fly with confidence and you want to master the close proximity flights, flying low, flying close, and getting the shots your competition can't, then you need to learn from experienced drone pilots. You got to come to Drone U, where everything is taught from experience. If you want a video guidebook, then you can go somewhere else. If you want to learn from manned pilots that are trying to trick you into believing that they're drone pilots, then you can go elsewhere as well. But if you really want to learn how to get the smoothest shots in the toughest environments to land the jobs of your dreams and have a life that you truly enjoy living, then you've got to check out Drone U. My name is Paul. This is Drone U HQ.